SwimOutlet.com delivers the best online shopping experience. With an extensive selection and the lowest prices, you're guaranteed to find the product you need. Here's what you get. Free shipping on all orders over $49. Free 1 to 2 day shipping on all orders over $99. All orders placed by 6 p.m. ship out the same day. Shop at SwimOutlet.com, the web's most popular swim shop.
This is the Morning Swim Show for Friday, July 27, 2012. I'm your host, Tiffany Elias, and today is finally the opening ceremony, and swimming will kick off day one of the Olympic Games tomorrow. On yesterday's show, we analyzed the female events, and today it's all about the men. Back in the Finis Monitor is Swimming World senior writer John Lohn. John, thanks again for joining us.
Great to be here, Tiffany.
All right, so we covered the women yesterday. And on the men's side, we've got a few storylines in here that we don't necessarily see on the female side. We've got some rivalries and some matchups that are really anticipated and making a lot of news in the swimming world. Let's start off with, of course, Lochte and Phelps, the showdown. Lochte taking over Phelps, whatever you want to call it. What are your thoughts on this battle?
I think the thing that I love the most is that we don't waste any time getting into the rivalry. The very first event up is the 400 IM, which means we get Lochte Phelps in our face all from the get-go. And I think not only is that going to be great just to see a tremendous battle in the 400 IM, I think it sets the tone for the meet. It's going to get everybody hyped up, not just the swimmers, not just the fans in attendance in London, but like I said, all around the world. And it'll set the stage for a great 8 days. This is one hell of a rivalry. There's no other way around it. Look, this is what everybody wants to see. There are other great storylines there, but people want to see the two matchups in Phelps and Lochte, and we get them both in the medley events.
And it's not just swimming enthusiasts that want to see this rivalry.
Right.
It is every viewer out there, non-swimming related. Everybody knows about these two. So it's really great to see the swimming sport cross over so many platforms.
Yeah, the cool thing is everybody knows the name Michael Phelps from Beijing, from the 8 gold medals, all the Spitz comparisons in the past. But now everybody knows Ryan Lochte's name too. And if there's a handful that don't, they sure are going to know his name by Saturday night. And it's just a tremendous time for the sport. It's great to see, not just a one-person show in Phelps, and that's where everybody links the sport to, who doesn't have a vested interest in the intermediate years between Olympics. So this is just a great growth period for swimming.
Now, also on the rivalry scene, on the sprinter side of things, we have Cesar Cielo of Brazil and James Magnussen of Australia. Both these guys going to be going head-to-head. Now, as we jump into our sprint freestyles, you have Cesar Cielo on top and Cesar on the freestyle 50, Magnussen on the 100. What are your thoughts on these two competitors?
Well, I think Cesar's kind of laid under the radar on this. He hasn't done much talking. He's just getting prepared. James Magnussen is not afraid to speak his mind, and he's gone off a couple times saying, yeah, Cesar's there, but I'm not afraid of him. And so he's chirped a little bit. And he is the reigning world champion in the 100 free. He's definitely favored to beat Cesar there, but Cesar's the undisputed favorite in the 50 free. So I see a split decision out of the two of those guys, and we'll just have to wait till Worlds next year to see who can get the next round. But I don't see either of them sweeping the sprints.
All right. Well, hopefully his comments don't come back to bite him. But on the 50 side of things, I thought what was interesting is you do have Anthony Irvin in the medal mix for that silver place, which I think would be outstanding. He put together really solid 50s and 100s at the trials. Do you think he can do it again in London?
Yeah, I really bought into what Anthony did in Omaha, obviously, by putting him in the silver medal spot. To be away from the sport for as long as he was, to be 12 years removed from his Olympic gold medal in the 50 free that he shared with Gary Hall in 2000, and to come back and to put up a career best time in Omaha, 2 or 3 career best times, you believe this guy's on a fairy tale story, and I just see it happening with a medal there. He's such a raw talent. And 4 more weeks, I think he should be able to produce a really great 50. Maybe he can give Cesar a run. It's hard to believe a guy can separate himself from the field in the 50, but Cielo definitely does. So there is a catch-up game being played there. But there's no reason Irvin can't take the silver medal.
All right, I want to dive into the 100 freestyle a little bit more. here as it sets us up for the 400 freestyle relay on the men's side, which, as we discussed at trials, the United States is not favored in this event, or they might be, assuming Phelps can pull off a good split now that he scratched that 200 freestyle. But on the Australia side, not only do they have James Magnussen, but they have James Roberts and a few others, as you can tell us about. But what does the U.S. need to do to secure that gold in the 400 freestyle relay?
Well, Phelps has to be 47 mid off the leadoff. And then I don't even know what the other parts are going to be. You know Nathan Adrian's probably going to anchor the thing. They're going to need – they don't need a Jason Lezak 46-0 relay split. I shouldn't say that. They're not going to get a 46-0 relay split from Jason Lezak. That's probably a once-in-a-lifetime performance. But they're going to need some splendid things to happen and some things to fall really into place for the Australians to not be right at their peak. With, you said, Magnussen and Roberts. They're also going to have Eamon Sullivan and Matt Target on that relay. Some things are not going to have to go right for the Aussies, I think, for the United States to have a chance at the gold medal. And we can't overlook France and Russia here. The United States is going to have its hands full in this event based on what we saw at trials.
All right, so the 200 freestyle, this is going to be another chance for Lochte to see if he can secure another gold medal. How confident are you in this first place?
I'm not. And that's not a knock on Ryan at all, but I had this as the best event on the men's side before Phelps decided to scratch out of this and give Ricky Behrens that spot in there. I still think without Phelps, this might be the best men's event. You have Yannick Agnel, you have Taewon Park from Korea, Sun Yang from China, Paul Biederman from Germany. It's a loaded field. The way Yannick Agnel's been swimming, you know he's going to give Lochte a run. Both of the Asian swimmers, Sun Yang, Taewon Park was a silver medalist behind Phelps in Beijing. I could see this thing going in a number of ways. I gave Lochte the nod because the way he wasn't really in full form at trials. Plus, he's the reigning world. That's what tipped my hand that way.
All right, so you just mentioned Sun Yang. I think he's going to be in the race there for the 200, but it might be a little short for him. He's going to be, I think, the one to beat for both the 400 and the 1500 freestyle.
Definitely the 1500. I think Ryan Cochran, Usman Luli, the crew there is going to be swimming for silver and bronze behind Sun Yang. Look, the guy broke Grant Hackett's legendary world record last year at World Champs. The 400, I think, is going to be an awesome battle between Sun Yang and Taewon Park. Park's your reigning Olympic champion. They both put up some really fast in-season times. That is, like we talked about yesterday's show, Soistrom and Vollmer in the 100 fly being a head-to-head battle. I see this 400 free men's being head between Sun and Park.
Now, just covering all the men's freestyle events, we're not seeing, at least in your top three prediction of each events, we're not really seeing that much depth on the United States side overall in freestyle.
Well, the 400 free was a concern coming out of trials. Maybe Peter Vanderkay was able to find something over the past month to put himself into the mix. Lochte's 200 free, obviously he's there, but Behrens is going to have to really work hard just to get into the final because of how deep. The 1500, I think those two young guys, Connor Yeager, Andrew Gemmel, they're in another league right now from the Sun Yangs, the Molulis, Cochran. So, yeah, there's not going to be a ton of American presence in terms of the 4 and the 15 where we're battling for medals.
All right, so moving on to the backstroke. This time around, we're not going to get a chance to watch Aaron Pearsall, the defending world record holder in the 100 and 200. But on the 100 side, you've got the nod going to Matt Grievers.
Yeah, Grievers showed so much in trials. Second fastest time produced, fastest in a textile suit, 52.0, and that immediately launched him into the conversation with Frenchman Camille Lecour for the gold medal spot. Ryusuke Irie from Japan is a better 200 backstroker, but he should be in a medal hunt there. I think I have him in the bronze spot.
You do, and you also have Irie in second place on that 200 backstroke side, right behind Lochte. And Tyler Clary also getting in there on the medal stand for third. That would be a really great swim for him.
Yeah, Tyler gets so overlooked unless he's making comments that really I think he regretted making, and I'm referring to the Michael Phelps comments about his work ethic.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on
Tyler, that? Young guy, got caught in a situation where he started spouting off and not realizing exactly what he was doing or the repercussions of it. If he could take it back, he would have. And obviously there's not a delete button a lot of times. So you move on, you focus on what you have to do, and it's a history part of history now. It's not an issue going forward. It happened. It's done. He needs to just worry about what he has to do, and that's pushing for a medal in the 200 backstroke, which is his best chance. He's a guy who is among the top 3 in the world here, so he should at least get a podium spot, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. All right, now on the breaststroke side, one of the few swimmers that could double, Kazuki Kitajima, he really has been the one to beat for a while now.
I don't know if there's Phelps, but I don't know if there's anybody, if you take over the past 2 Olympiads, who has answered the call when it matters the way Kitajima has. Got it done 100, 200 in Athens, came back in Beijing. Threw down a couple times earlier this year, I believe at the Japanese Nationals, that said, hey, here I am again. Guess what? I'm the guy. And that's what it comes down to in the 100 and 200. Nobody's ever tripled amongst the men. Phelps has 4 chances at it. Kitajima has these 2. And the way he swam at 58.90 earlier this year in the 100, I'd have to say he's definitely the favorite there, especially in the tragic death of Alexander De Leon. He's the reigning world champion who passed away in late April, cardiac arrest while training in Flagstaff. He would have been the premier challenger to Kitajima. Now I think Kitajima is definitely separated in the 100. The 200 is going to be a little bit more of a tighter race with Danny Yurta from Hungary in the mix.
Now, on the men's side for the 100 breaststroke, we have Brendan Hansen with a pretty good chance of getting in there on the medal stand. On the 200 side, as we saw from trials, Brendan didn't get in there. We've got some youngsters leading the way. So what the future of men's 200 breaststroke, realistic that they're going to top 8?
Yeah, I could see them getting in the top 8. I don't think they'll battle for a medal at all. And I'm not trying to slight Clark Burkle or Scott Welts at all. But the 200 breaststroke right now between Kitajima, Danny Yurta, Christian von Lehm from Germany, Ryo Tateishi from Japan, they're just, if you look at their times, they're considerably faster than where the Americans are. And those Americans were clearly tapered, clearly rested for trials just to get through to this point. So to come back and to drop the kind of time that they're going to need, I just don't see happening.
All right, so on to the butterfly. Phelps not with quite the same lineup as he had in 2008, but he's really looking to be on top for the 100 and the 200 butterfly. But I'm really looking forward to the 100 as he gets another chance to go head-to-head with Kavik, who, as we know, he only outtouched by 1/100th of a second back in 08.
And the nice thing with Milorad Kavik is that there was a lull. We didn't hear much from him in between the Olympics. There were some injuries he was dealing with. He started to show recently that he was regaining form. And what better time to regain form than an Olympic year? So it's going to be a situation again. Kavik takes it out very fast, and then Phelps, like he does to everybody seemingly, will be stalking him down. Tyler McGill is going to be right in that picture. Konrad Zerniak from Poland will be in the mix for a medal. But it's Phelps. The 100 and 200 flies are Phelps' to lose.
Yeah, definitely going to be fun ones to watch. And I think it would be great if McGill gets in there as well. Mm-hmm. Now the 200 IM and 400 IM, the last individual events to cover, already tapped into the 4 IM a little bit. But what's interesting here, as we saw in trials, Phelps took the 2 IM, Lochte took the 4 IM. You think it's going to play out like that again here?
I picked Lochte to win the 400 IM in London. I picked Phelps to win the 200, and the only reason I went with that is that Lochte is going to have about 20 to 25 minutes before he'll have that final of the 200 backstroke. And you give any sort of window, any opening or little window for Michael Phelps to step through, and he usually takes advantage of it. They're so dead even in this event, so maybe this is just the one little thing that Michael needs to assure victory. It's going to be one heck of a battle, though, right to the wall. I think we'll both see both guys under 154.00, which is the current world record, and everybody else is going to be in another time zone. That's just the way these guys have separated themselves in the medley events.
100% agreed with that, and what an advantage that gives Phelps with Lochte having that 2 back, which, as we know, backstroke is so hard on your legs. So definitely going to be an advantage there for Phelps.
The one thing that Lochte will have on his side in that, if you want to call it on, he's prepared for this double for 4 years, though. He knew how difficult it was in Beijing because he tried to pull it off there. And so everything he has done has been in preparation for being prepared to handle this double. Now, whether he can pull it off, If he does, it's going to be the greatest double in the history of the sports scene, and good luck ever matching it, because it would be a to win double gold in a matter of 20, 25 minutes, that would be ridiculous.
All right, John, 2 questions for you before we hop into the relays. Now, well respected in the swimming community, know the sport much better than most people. 2 questions. In your opinion, is Phelps retiring after 2012?
Yes, he has nothing left to prove. I think he's been itching to get away, and he has gotten away at times in his career to play golf, to pursue other endeavors, but he's itching for the opportunity to do it completely and on his terms, where there isn't that in the back of his mind, yeah, I know I got to get back in there at some point, or do I want to get back in there at some point? So we will see how this all shakes out and whether he gets an itch as we creep closer to Rio, but I think this will be the end, and he's going to want to go out in grand fashion.
I wouldn't be surprised if he does get a little itch and decide, I might as well just try the 100 butterfly and see what happens. But nonetheless, he's going to take a substantial break.
Yeah, big time.
All right, second question. Overall, who's coming out on top? Who would get the storyline, Phelps or Lochte?
Honestly, and I don't mean this as a hedge in any way, they're both going to share them, because I think it's gotten to the point now where they're inseparable. If you mention Phelps, you mention Lochte. If you mention Lochte, you mention Phelps. They're almost linked these days. And if anything, Phelps gets a little bit more of the nod because he's pursuing the all-time Olympic medal record, which is right now held by a Soviet gymnast, Larissa Latinina, and that's 18, so he only needs 3 medals to own that overall record. So there is some history still to be made for Phelps, but I truly believe that, and especially because they're swimming the only 2 times they're going to clash are the medley events. How do you separate them? You can't mention one without the other.
Well, John, I'm glad you say you can't mention one without the other, because we're going to coin the term here, Team Phelpty and Locks. You know, that's the trend with celebrities here, combining those names. So Phelpty is going to be on top this year, is what I'm saying.
That's I like that a lot.
All right, so on to the relays. USA, you have on top for all 3 relays, the 400 free, the 800 free, and the 400 medley. But we already tapped.
I have Australia on top for the 400 free relay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so the other ones, pretty confident in those?
Definitely in the 800 free relay, and I know a lot of people feel like China could put out a really good performance there. France is solid, but I think the Americans are really comfortable in the 800 free relay. The 400 medley relay I had a little more concern about before trials, and then I saw Mac Reavers and Brendan Hansen look real strong, and those were the 2 questionable legs on that relay, and it made me feel a little bit better that they'll be comfortable enough ahead of Australia going into the anchor that James Magnussen won't be able to run anybody down. But it'll be a little tighter than maybe we're used to seeing in a 400 medley for the United States.
All right, John, well, a lot to look forward to. I will be seeing you just shortly over there in London, so looking forward to watching these races with you and reporting back to Swimming World.
Can't wait, Tiff. We're going to have a blast.
All right, thanks, John.
Take care.
Well, that will conclude today's morning swim show. As I mentioned earlier, tomorrow is day 1 of the Olympic Games in London. John and I will be headed across the pond to deliver on-site reports. Make sure to keep up with all the coverage on swimmingworld.com, Facebook, and Twitter. Tune in to Swimming World TV Warm Down Show after each final session for an in-depth analysis of each night. I'm Tiffany Elias, and I will see you next time reporting from London.